Hello, friends. Very peaceful greetings of this divine evening to all of you. Today, I, Kunal Nagpal, am feeling extremely honored to conduct this great economic session. Dear guys, in today's session, we are basically going to go through the very important insights and points of view expressed by the respected dignitaries of our society, be it the eminent leaders or the respected ministerial staff who have given their perspectives in a very beautiful manner at the India International Science Festival 2022, that is IISF, being held in Bhopal. So it is really a great moment of pride to go through the great insights being presented by these pioneers as they have discussed that how India is seeing the exponential progress in this particular domain, which is definitely reaping and is going to reap further very, very productive fruits. And all this has been made possible or is being made possible by the far-sightedness of our excellent leaders, all thanks to their strategic leadership style and the far-sighted approach, which is basically human-centric. That's why in today's era, India is getting popular for its theme of human-centric globalization. So, dear guys, before I begin my discussion on this particular front, let's discuss certain great insights pertaining to the sugar exports and the ethanol output, which is actually helping the mills to pay the farmers. So the immense rise in sugar exports and ethanol output is actually of great significance and is really very, very favorable if we consider the entire benefit for the farmers. So that's the main objective of the government as well. That is the equal distribution of wealth, and everyone should be given justice. So, more than tenfold increase in ethanol production in the past 9 years and over 20 times rise in sugar exports in the last 6 years have actually helped India's sugar mills to become self-reliant, that is Atmanirbhar, and also make faster payment of dues to the farmers. The government data basically shows that the sugarcane dues for 2020-21 and 2021-22 seasons have reduced considerably to 0.1% and 2% respectively. This was not the case a few years back. The dues of farmers had been pending for years as the sugar mills were struggling with their finances, and protests for the payment of arrears were very, very common in the major producing states. In a presentation, the Joint Secretary in the Food Ministry, Mr. Subodh Kumar Singh, said against the 93,075 crore rupees dues payable to the sugarcane farmers for the year 2020-21 season, the millers have paid 92,987 crore rupees and barely 88 crore rupees is pending. Similarly, for 2021-22, the farmers received the payment of 1.16 lakh crore rupees and 2,310 crore rupees was pending. October to September is actually treated as the sugar season, as the production of the sweetener starts from October. The Food Ministry said several steps taken by the government have actually helped the industry and the farmers as well, including the setting of minimum selling price, that is the MSP of sugar at the mills to prevent the cash loss to the mills, diversion of excess sugar to ethanol, and incentive for export of excess sugar out of the country. The official details show that since 2014, the sugar mills and the distilleries have generated about 77,000 crore rupees from the sale of ethanol to oil marketing companies, that is the OMCs. The production of ethanol and its supply to the OMCs has increased from 38 crore liters to 408 crore liters between 2013-14 and 2021-22. So this is really commendable, a great victory. So there has been a complete transition of the sugar industry from the food sector to the energy sector, the Food Ministry said in its presentation. Similarly, to deal with the glut of sugar, the government has so far provided the assistance of 18,000 crore rupees to the mills to facilitate the buffer stock and export of surplus sweetener. Now, since the export of sugar has actually become viable for the industry, the government is not providing any financial assistance. The sugar export has gone up from less than 50,000 ton in 2016-17 sugar season to 110 lakh tons in 2021-22. So for the current financial year, the government has allowed the export of 60 lakh tons. The Union Food Secretary, Mr. Sanjeev Chopra, said this week that the government will take a decision next month on increasing the sugar export quota after assessing the domestic production and internal demand. So this is really overwhelming to see the considerable progress being happening in the sugar industry, and the gradual transition or the complete transition of the sugar industry from food sector to the energy sector is really commendable. Moreover, as we have stated, that the production of ethanol and its supply to the oil marketing companies has increased from 38 crore liters to 408 crore liters between 2013-14 and 2021-22. This is really commendable. Now, my dear friends, we are going to discuss the great insights being presented by the CSIR Director General KALAISELVI during the India International Scientist Forum being held in Bhopal. According to her, India will actually become the model of global science, technology, and innovation in 2047 and will be among the top 3 countries in the field in 2030. This statement, as I have said, has been made by the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research CSIR Director General Dr. Nallathamby KALAISELVI. Talking to the PTI, she has also denied that the Young Scientist Awards have been discontinued and said that the people will definitely see a multi-dimensional growth in science sector in the coming days. Ms. KALAISELVI, the first woman Director General of CSIR established by the government in 1942, was in Bhopal to participate in the 8th India International Science Festival 2022, which began on Saturday. The theme of this 4-day event is actually marching towards Amrit Kal with science, technology, and innovation. In 2030, India will be one among the top 3 nations. In 2047, the country will actually become the model of global STI, that is, global science, technology, and innovation. In 2070, the entire globe will accept that India is actually a ruling power in science, because this will become a reality in 2070. This is my strongest belief as a scientific researcher, Ms. KALAISELVI said. Asked about the media reports claiming that the CSIR has stopped giving the young scientists awards and prizes, Ms. KALAISELVI said, "Actually, nothing has been stopped. The young scientist related programs are happening everywhere, at every level. Even the students are called young scientist students. So, everywhere, science, researchers are getting celebrated. If you feel that something looks like getting stopped, I think you will definitely see the multidimensional growth in the coming days," she added. On women's role in science, Ms. KALAISELVI noted, "This is a critically, historically, and scientifically important era, wherein our respected Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji has also said that in the Amrit Kal, we have escalated ourselves in science, technology, and innovation. The government of India has already identified that women in science can really do wonders, and women have also started reaching various heights," Ms. KALAISELVI said, adding that is why she got identified as a woman scientist. That is, she is speaking about herself. That is why she has got identified as a woman scientist, because our Prime Minister's move, his noble intent to actually empower the women in this Amrit Kal. So, therefore, I am not here as Ms. KALAISELVI, but as the recognition given to the women in science, she said. Ms. KALAISELVI, who is also the Secretary of the Department of Scientific and Industrial Research, said, "When the country starts celebrating not only science and researchers, but also women in science, when it is trying to give women an additional support through a number of projects, I think the days are not far when India should be among the top 3 nations in the field of science." She said the CSIR was actually coming up with the dedicated programs for the women. On women's participation in the IISF, Ms. KALAISELVI said the participation of women is actually very, very unique everywhere and here as well. The CSIR DG said she is thrilled to see the next generation, both males and females, coming forward in the field of science, and it is no wonder that males are taking up the job further. But nowadays, the girls are also coming forward, and they have started sharing the responsibility not only in terms of family, but also in science and technology, in the nation's development, in maintaining and hence making the sustainable growth and development of India's tradition and culture through science and technology, she said. So this is really remarkable and a commendable progress. Asked about the new innovations being showcased at the India International Scientific Festival, she said, The participants are basically exhibiting what they have done, and they have been told to make the CSIR community understand the critical challenges they are actually facing. I just told them, that is the participants, if they are coming up with some kind of critical challenges that could really be addressed by the scientific researchers, they can make the CSIR community understand. Ms. KALAISELVI said they have 37 labs across the nation and they will be able to find the solutions through them. If we are getting 5 to 10 issues faced by these people, and if we are able to solve one out of it, that will be a success of this kind of an event, she said. On the future CSIR programs, she said, the country is actually getting ready for the 2047, that is the Amrit Kal period. We in the CSIR are already geared up for 2030. So from 2030, we will move to 2042, which is our 100th year. Then we will move to 2047. So this is really great to go through the very, very visionary insights being presented by the eminent scientist, the Director General of CSIR, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, Dr. Nallathamby KALAISELVI, who is actually very sure that India will become the model of global science, technology and innovation in 2047. And she has presented her viewpoints in a very, very analytical manner. Now, my dear friends, we are now going to discuss the great insights being presented by the eminent dignitary leader, Minister Jitendra Singh, at this International Science Fest, who is of the basic idea that India is actually preparing for the quantum jump in the quantum technology. Actually, India is preparing for a quantum jump in the quantum technology, which will define the future science with practical solutions for the world's pressing problems. Space, Science and Technology Minister Mr. Jitendra Singh said at the India International Science Festival 2022 being held in Bhopal. After jointly inaugurating the 4-day IISF along with MP CM Mr. Shivraj Singh Chauhan on Saturday, the minister said, technology and innovation should actually be the torchbearers of the economy of the country when it celebrates 100 years of independence in 2047. He said, our respected Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji's path-breaking decisions like the unlocking of the space sector in June 2020, liberalization of drone technologies, approval to the geospatial guidelines, and the recent green hydrogen mission worth 20,000 crore rupees have opened the new vistas for India's rapid development march in technologies during the Amrit Kal. I repeat, the minister states that the respected Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji's path-breaking decisions like the unlocking of the space sector in June 2020, liberalization of drone technologies, approval to the geospatial guidelines, and the recent green hydrogen mission worth 20,000 crore rupees have actually opened the new vistas for India's rapid development march in technologies during the Amrit Kal. After the space sector was thrown open for the private participation in June 2020, about 120 deep tech space startups have come up in India. These startups are not only sending the rockets into space, but are also involved in the key areas like building satellites and debris management. Science has now entered every household and is deeply intertwined with the future of India, he said. Mr. Jitendra Singh said the India International Science Festival Bhopal, that is IISF Bhopal, is happening when India has assumed the G20 presidency, during which the nation will be showcasing not only the multi-pronged developmental dimensions but also its universally recognized soft power. He also underlined inclusive engagement and noted with pride that women scientists are actually taking a lead in major science and technology missions, including the Gaganyaan project. The Gaganyaan project. In his address, the MPCM said that 2,600 startups actually came up in the state alone in 1 year. And it is not only confined to Indore, but even Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities are dotted with the successful startups. He called upon the students and entrepreneurs to develop a zeal for the innovations. Principal Scientific Advisor Mr. Ajay Sood said that India has actually graduated to 41st rank from 86 in the Innovation Index within a very, very short span of time. He said, with the launch of the semiconductor mission, India's economy is actually going to get a booster dose. That's why our respected minister, Mr. Jitendra Singh, is of the view that India is actually making a quantum jump, a quantum leap in the quantum technology. The IISF will actually have 15 important events, including a science village with the participation of 2,500 students who will get exposure to the new technologies and innovations. Apart from a mega startups expo, 1,500 young scientists will brainstorm on emerging technology in all areas, including biotechnology. Some of the prominent speakers who are actually taking part in the IISF include Bharat Biotech CMD Dr. Krishna Ella, Dr. Archana Sharma of CERN Geneva, then ISRO Chairman Mr. S. Somnath, and International Association of Classification Societies Director Professor Tapas Chakraborty. Now, after understanding the broad framework being presented by our respected minister, Mr. Jitendra Singh, at the International Science Fest, let's move forward to discuss the basic insights being presented by our respected minister, Mr. Hardeep Singh Puri, regarding the aspect of the increments being made in E and P, import diversification, and biofuels, which are actually the part of India's four-plank energy security strategy. So, India, the world's third largest energy consumer, is actually increasing the domestic oil and gas exploration, diversifying the import basket, switching to alternate sources, and using gas and green hydrogen as a pathway to energy transition and security, the Oil Minister, Mr. Hardeep Singh Puri, said on Sunday. I repeat, India, the world's third largest energy consumer, is actually increasing the domestic oil and gas exploration, diversifying import basket, switching to alternate sources, and using gas and green hydrogen as a pathway to energy transition and security, Oil Minister Mr. Hardeep Singh Puri said on Sunday, that is 22nd January 2023. Mr. Puri, who was here for an event showcasing age-old boats on the ghats of the holy city switching to CNG instead of polluting diesel, said India is actually projected to contribute fourth of the world's energy demand growth in the next couple of decades. So while the nation is dependent on imports to meet 85% of its oil needs and 50% of its natural gas requirements, India is actually mixing ethanol extracted from sugarcane and other agri-produce in petrol to cut the overseas reliance. That is emphasizing on the concept of Atmanirbharta, self-sufficiency, self-reliance in the maximum possible products. It will achieve 20% ethanol blending in petrol by 2025, Mr. Puri said. Our energy security strategy is actually based on 4 pillars of diversification of energy supplies, increasing exploration and production footprint, using alternate energy sources, and meeting the energy transition through the gas-based economy, green hydrogen, and electrical vehicles, he said. I repeat, our energy security strategy is actually based on 4 pillars of diversification of energy supplies, increasing the exploration and production footprint, using alternate energy sources, and meeting energy transition through the gas-based economy, green hydrogen, and EVs, that's electric vehicles, he said. India increased the number of its crude oil suppliers from 27 countries in 2006-07 to 39 in 2021-22, adding the new suppliers like Colombia, Russia, Libya, Gabon, and Equatorial Guinea, etc. The crude oil extracted from below the Earth's surface is actually refined to produce the fuels like petrol and diesel. Natural gas too is found below the surface and is used to generate electricity, make fertilizer, and convert into CNG to run the automobiles and piped to the homes for cooking purposes. The energy prices globally shot up following the Russia's invasion of Ukraine, but the consumers in India were largely insulated as the state-owned retailers did not raise the prices commensurate with the spurt. The prices of diesel, the most used fuel in the country, rose by only 3% between December 2021 and December 2022, while they went up by 34% in the United States of America, 36% in Canada, 25% in Spain, and 10% in the United Kingdom, Mr. Puri said. Diesel price increased from 86.67 rupees per litre in December 2021 to 89.62 rupees a year later. Rate of petrol rose from 95.41 rupees per litre to 96.72 rupees per litre. The increase was actually tempered by a cut in the excise duty. The government had raised the excise duty on petrol by 13 rupees a litre and that on diesel by 15 rupees per litre in 2020 when the pandemic had battered the global energy prices. The hike was rolled back in 2 installments in November 2021 and May 2022. Also, some states cut VAT, that is the value added tax or the local sales tax on the fuel to help the consumers. Mr. Puri said the government is actually targeting to increase India's exploration acreage to 0.5 million square kilometer by 2025 and 1 million square kilometer by 2030. Exploration over a wider area will yield more discoveries, raising the domestic oil and gas output and hence cutting the reliance on imports. Also, India increased the ethanol blending in petrol from 1.53% in 2013-14 to 10.17% in 2022 and advanced its target to achieve 20% ethanol blending in petrol from 2030 to 2025-26. The phased rollout of E20 will actually commence from this month, that is January itself or February, he said. So I repeat his overall analysis. He says that India increased the ethanol blending in petrol from 1.53% in 2013-14 to 10.17% in 2022 and advanced its target to achieve 20% ethanol blending in petrol from 2030 to 2025-26. The phased rollout of E20 will actually commence from this month or February, he said. Simultaneously, the government is also supplementing the supplies by setting up the compressed biogas, that is the CBG plants that use animal and agri waste to produce the gas. And for making India a hub for production of green hydrogen, the fuel of the future, which has zero carbon footprint, an incentive of 19,744 crore rupees under the National Green Hydrogen Mission has been announced, he said, adding the target is actually to produce at least 5 million ton per annum of green hydrogen by 2030. So, towards energy transition, the fuel retailers are actually setting up the alternate energy sources such as EV charging, CNG and LPG at 22,000 petrol pumps by May 2024, he added. So he has very wonderfully presented the overall facts along with the statistical figures of the oil and gas industry, that is, how is the gradual transition taking place. And hence, he stresses on India's four-plank energy security strategy, that is, increased E&P, import diversification, and biofuels to be the part of this particular strategy. Now, my dear friends, we are basically going to understand how EdTech, that is education plus technology, with regard to the Indian economy, is actually prospering in the current times, and in future it really has great prospects. So skilling, upskilling and reskilling are the basic keys to succeed in this particular aspect. A black swan event such as the pandemic, escalating geopolitical tensions and their efforts on growth during the past 3 years has actually provided the global economy with challenges. India, however, has actually emerged as a model of resilience, having placed strong emphasis on its digital economy, innovation, skill development, and sustainability, paving the way for India to lead the global economic recovery. This is really excellent. Hence, I would like to repeat this particular statement, which really highlights the entire crux. India has actually emerged as a model of resilience in these persisting tough times, having placed strong emphasis on its digital economy, innovation, skill development, and sustainability, therefore paving the way for India to lead the global economic recovery. So, for India to continue its march, it would actually be prudent that the budget advances the Digital India mandate. While the budget will likely prioritize maintaining fiscal prudence, the efforts must also be made to roll out the measures that can actually help people leverage the power of digital in education, finance, skilling, infrastructure, health, etc. That is, we have to pay a lot of emphasis towards the transition into 100% digital economy. And in what all sectors do we need to incorporate this particular technology? Education, finance, skilling, infrastructure, health, and the list goes on. So, while India has one of the world's youngest populations, that is a very, very strong demographic dividend, the proportion of the formally skilled workers is actually very low. 4.69% of the total workforce, compared to 24% in China, 52% in the United States of America. The government of India must introduce tax breaks to accelerate upskilling while also lowering the cost of higher education. With EdTech enabling uninterrupted learning during the pandemic and hence proving its mettle as a legitimate learning solution, a reduction in taxes on educational products and services would be most welcome in ensuring a cost-effective structure for businesses while advancing the cause of comprehensive education for all, helping in holistic development. So, hopefully, the budget will prioritize the improvement of digital infrastructure and internet penetration in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, thereby facilitating their emergence as the future technology and digital talent hubs in India. Open Network for Digital Commerce, that is ONDC, and the commercial rollout of 5G have already set the wheels in motion in this particular direction. I repeat, Open Network for Digital Commerce, that is ONDC, and the commercial rollout of 5G have already set the wheels in motion in this particular direction. So, these advancements have established India as a global leader in the field. The budgetary allocations must be increased for talent development and digital skill training in schools and universities, while also allowing the EdTech businesses to offer online and hybrid learning and skilling programs in collaboration with international universities. While the Finance Minister, Dr. Nirmala allocated a record $1 trillion for education, $1 trillion rupees for education expenditures last year. One actually anticipates a similar allocation this year also. The consistent flow of funds will aid in sustaining and expanding the successful initiatives such as PME Vidya and One Nation, One Classroom. The consumers would welcome the lucrative tax breaks that help them reduce their tax liability by investing in education and upskilling services. And a nation is only as good as its citizens, and much initiatives of such kind would further its education policy's objectives. So apart from the structural initiatives, the budget would be incomplete without an equal or greater emphasis on human capital, which is a very, very integral component of the economy. The establishment of the National Digital University, that is NDU, as envisioned by the National Education Policy 2020, is innovative and has the potential to enable our youth to skill, upskill, and reskill. According to the External Affairs Ministry data, nearly 3 lakh students were studying abroad in 2022, and the Reserve Bank of India estimates that 5 billion rupees was lost in foreign exchange due to the students studying abroad in the financial year 2021-22. So by making the provisions for the UGC's proposal to actually establish the foreign university campuses in India, the budget can also pave the way for India to become a global destination for education while saving foreign exchange. The budget cannot, however, be complete without the collaborations between the policymakers and the stakeholders across the spectrum. I repeat, the budget cannot be complete without the proper collaborations between the policymakers and the stakeholders across the spectrum. One looks forward to the Government of India making provisions to foster deeper collaboration between the edtechs, education institutes, and technology providers to further scale learning offerings and enable an India where learning and skilling are continuous. It's often said that learning is actually a beautiful process which goes on for the lifetime. Hence, it is continuous. So that's what being stated here. That is, in order to enable an India where learning and skilling are continuous, we need to look forward to the Government of India making provisions to foster deeper collaborations between the edtechs, educational institutes, and technology providers for basically furthering scale learning offerings. So this is really a very well articulated write-up by Baiju Ravindran, and this is very, very insightful, helping us to learn what all strategies we require to excel in this particular aspect, and very well demonstrating that how can our budget prioritize this particular aspect so that our society gets immense success in this domain. And also, as of now, we are in a very, very favorable position because of the excellent strategies by our visionary government. Now, my dear friends, we are going to understand how the startups reward and retain the top performers despite the crunch. As all of us are quite aware that the layoffs are happening across the globe, across the well-renowned MNCs. So, amid the continuing layoffs, cost cutting, and a funding slowdown in the startup ecosystem, a bunch of companies including Upgrad, NoBroker, Encash, Zepto, Cashkaro, and Homelane say that despite the challenging external environment, the focus during the upcoming appraisals will actually be on the rewarding and retaining high performers while keeping all the team members motivated. The talent will actually be rewarded with ESOP, that is Employee Stock Option Plan, special bonuses, larger roles, trips, and faster career progression tracks, the founders at these startups told Economic Times. Overall, the increments will happen based on organizational growth, achievement of business targets, and industry trends. But the appraisals will largely be in line with last year's at most startup units. The EdTech company Upgrad will grant ESOP worth 100 crore rupees to select employees across the levels in the upcoming appraisal cycle. For Cash Karo, both fiscal prudence in the interest of the overall business and keeping up the overall morale of employees are very important. I repeat, for Cash Karo, both fiscal prudence in the interest of the overall business and keeping up the overall morale of employees are actually very important. The good appraisals are a key part of driving employee motivation. Hence, cutting down on salary increments has never been on our list, said the co-founder, Ms. Swati Bhargava. So what are the key takeaways from this well-strategic write-up? Basically, the startup founders say that the top talent will be rewarded with ESOP, special bonuses, larger roles, trips, etc. And the overall increments will be based on the growth of the organization as per the sources. The increments likely to be in line with the last year. Also, some startups had paid out the increments in the range of 10 to 30% last year. So, my dear friends, this is the entire analysis and the basic the basic crux of this particular analysis regarding our current discussion is that we as a country are prospering at a very desirable rate, actually beyond expectations, and our performance is being regarded as an exceptional and extraordinary performance because of the very well laid out and very insightful with the long-term vision, excellent strategies which are helping to actually lay a very strong foundation for our bright future. And we can actually comprehend and visualize such bright future in our present also with the help of the statistical reports across various domains that our performance is really excellent, par excellence, and we are making tremendous progress in global science, technology, and innovation as appreciated by the eminent scientists and the well-recognized ministerial staff. This is really a great moment of pride, and we should fill ourselves with great enthusiasm and keep ourselves charged for actually further enhancement, right? And obviously the government is actually trying its best to nurture the talent in the society at the best possible level. So this is truly amazing to see the pace at which we are developing. We are growing gradually and incrementally at a very, very progressive rate. So, dear friends, on this note, I would like to conclude my today's session, and I hope you have been benefited immensely with this, with these beautiful insights. And obviously, what's the unified approach which is responsible for our dramatic success? It's the humanitarian approach being adopted by our government. Apart from being optimistic or very, very well versed with the current dynamics, or very, very well versed with the actual demand of the present situation. This is entirely the perseverance of our leaders which is actually creating miracles. And that's why on the international forums as well, we are being recognized, we are being felicitated, we are being appreciated, our efforts are being acknowledged. And this is the real thing to be proud of. This is really excellent, and no one can stop us from excelling. No one can stop us from excelling, because our backbone, the backbone of our economy, the backbone of our society is our strong leadership, and ever dynamic and charismatic leadership. So it was really great to conduct this session, and I hope to see you guys soon. Until then, take an excellent care of yourselves. Namaskar. Jai Hind.